Hello, all you total bosses out there, and welcome to the Total Boss Podcast. I am your host, Christiana Green, and I am a life and business coach working with gay men and women, and I help my clients to create balance and growth across all areas of their life. So today's topic is all about raising your standards. So when I talk about raising your standards, it's not about being an egomaniac. It's about having a healthy level of self-respect for yourself. You want to be able to take some inspiration from mentors or people with the best work in that area and add your own touch to create the best work you can in that moment. Your work will only improve if you set a high expectation for yourself. So when it comes to your standards, what it is that your beliefs will create your standards, and your standards will create actions that you have in your life. So if you're always doing what you've always done, you're going to always get what you've always got, right? So when we want to start to get more or have more or raise our standards or have more growth and create balance in our life, we have to look at the standards that we are setting for ourselves in our life. So when it comes to all of the different areas of our life, we have to have a look at that and go, what is it that I really want? Where am I currently at? And what do I need to do to bridge the gap from where I am to where I want to be? So let me jump in and talk to you a little bit about how you are going to be able to get higher standards. And then what we'll talk about is the Wheel of Life, which is 12 different areas of our life, and how we can see where we're at in those areas and set some goals so that we can raise the standards of the way that we are living and how we are playing this game of life and business. So first of all, when you want to be able to raise your personal standards, number one is that you want to be able to gain clarity of where you are currently at, right? So if you're unclear of where you're at, you're not going to really know what it is that you need to do when it comes to your first step. So when we look at the Wheel of Life in a few minutes, what we'll be able to do is have an understanding of where am I at in that area of my life. So then I can go, what is my first step? So that I can clarify what I want to achieve and then actually take the steps to get there, right? So number two is obviously understanding that reality really well. So you, like I said, know where you're at so that you can actually, like I said, really go, okay, in my life, this is where I'm at in my relationship. This is where I'm at in my business. This is where I'm at in my spiritual connection. This is where I'm at in my wealth generation, right? And when we assess that reality quite clearly, it's quite obvious for us in some ways where we can make some changes, because, when we look at the Wheel of Life, what can happen is we can set some goals that actually can help us improve in more areas than one. So number one is gaining the clarity of where you're at, and two is really assessing your reality. Now, number three is all about finding inspiring mentors, or like reading people's books, listening to people's podcasts, getting a coach, a mentor, really finding someone who is going to be able to help you in that area so that you can take the steps to move to the next level, right? Now, obviously in life, we always want to talk about raising standards, because when we get to that level, we don't just want to stick at that level. We want to keep improving. So there's always going to be another level for you to get to. So when you find an inspiring mentor or leader who's going to help you in that area, it's great for you because they're always going to be a few steps ahead of you, so they can take you along the journey and help you to get to the growth that you are wanting in those areas of your life. Now, step 4 is for us to really go, like I said, we know where we're at. We've got the clarity of it. And it's to really set some clear standards, right? And so when I go through the Wheel of Life shortly, I'll talk to you about some of my older standards and the newer standards that I'm working towards, so that I can show you along the way how I've been able to set those clear standards and how my beliefs created those old standards and now are also creating those new standards because I've been able to shift those beliefs, right? Now, the final step here on the gaining higher standards is actually utilizing the pain and pleasure principle, right? So when it comes to making some changes in your life, there's really only two main reasons why we actually make change. One is because we're in so much pain that it forces us to do something to change our situation, or we're seeking the pleasure, and so that pleasure is guiding us in the direction of it. So it's really important to see where you're at in each area, because some of those areas you're going to be in a lot of pain and you're not going to be happy with those, and you're going to use that pain as fuel to move forward into the pleasure, right? And in the other area, you're going to be maybe sitting there complacent, wishing you want to have some better life. So you're going to be using the pleasure seeker to actually take you along the path. So you're actually moving in the right direction of where you want to go. So I'll repeat those again. So when we're wanting to raise our personal standards, 1, gain clarity of where you're at, assess that reality so you're super clear on it. 3, find inspiring mentors who can lead you down the right path. 4, set clear standards. And then 5, utilize the pain and pleasure principle along the way. So let me jump into the Wheel of Life, and I'll try to paint a picture here for you. So when it comes to the Wheel of Life, think of it like this. If you drew a big circle on a piece of paper and you divided that circle into 12 sectors. So it's like a different pie, like it's like each sector is like a piece of the pie. And each of these areas is going to be a different area of our life that if we can focus on these areas, we can see where we're at and where we want to go. So I'll talk a little bit about those areas here. So we've got, number 1 is personal growth. Number 2 is contribution. Number 3 is environment. Number 4 is recreation and fun. 5 is your romantic life or your love life. 6 is your family life. 7 is your social life or your friends. 8 is your health and fitness. Number 9 is your finance and your wealth creation. 10 is, whether you're in business, your career, or you're studying at the moment. Number 11 is your self-image, so how you see yourself. And finally, number 12 is your spirituality. So when we have these around in a little pie graph section, what it's important for us to do is when we have a look at each of these sections, we want to currently rate where we see ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. Obviously, 0 is we're so unhappy with where we're at that we just don't feel like we're making any progress in that area. And 10 means I'm so perfect in that area that I don't really need to focus on it right now. So it's best for us to always try to be as honest as possible here because, like I said, there is no right or wrong, and where you're at is where you're at, and it's okay to be there because when we see where we're at, it's important for us to go, well, where do I want to be, right? And, some of these are going to be more important to you than others because that's just how life is, right? We don't have importance on all 12 at the same time. So, for example, you could be starting a business and your business area could be, the most important area of your life right now. Or you could be really on a health and fitness journey and that could be a really important area of your life. Or you've just started a new relationship and that part could be super important for you. So you'll find that there'll be a few that'll be super important and some maybe not as important. But when we see clarity in all areas, what will happen is we can then utilize this to actually take where we are now and take it to the next level so we can raise our standards. So let's talk about each section individually so that you get a bit of an understanding. So the first section is personal growth. So this is all about your journey of growth on your mindset, growth on your endeavors, growth on all of the areas that you really want to see as a person. So like personal development, self-development, those areas where you're seeing yourself kind of step up and go, okay, this is something that I need to improve. This is something I need to improve. This is something I need to improve. Now, personal growth will tap into a lot of all of the other areas, but really it's more about, are you a growth mindset type of person? Are you focusing on growth in your life? So again, here, if you score yourself between 0 and 10, what you'll be able to do is understand where your current beliefs are and what are the standards that you are currently living at. And then where do I want to be? And how can I raise the standards? So what are going to be some of the goals that I want to set in that area? So for me, personal growth is a big, important one, and it always has been. And so for me, I would probably always put myself around, a 7 or an 8. And I've been seeking that out. But over the last maybe year and a half, it's probably raised up to a 9. Because I know that that's something that, I try to strive for every single day, right? So when you're lower on this schedule, you're not going to put as much emphasis on, doing some of the daily practices or daily routines that are going to help you to grow. But when you can raise your standard in that area, what will happen is, if you're a 9, you'll make my standard as I'm going to do something each day that's going to help me grow. So whether that's, joining a training, being part of a mastermind, reading a book, listening to a podcast, being invited into a group discussion about something that is, meaningful to me, that is what I would class as a daily practice for me. And I make sure that every day I do something that's going to help me grow. So for me, that's what I would put down as personal growth. The second one is contribution. So this is about how are you contributing to the world, to the people in your life, to others there. So what are you giving back, whether that's, time, whether that's money, whether that's energy, whether that's other resources. This is all about how much are you contributing to the world around you, to your community, to other people in general. So for me, I would class myself on contribution probably around an 8, because for what I do for a living, coaching, mentoring, guiding, I've always been in leadership roles. So I feel like I've always tried to be contributing to the people that I can help and guide and lead, and inspire, right? But maybe when it comes down to what I need to improve upon, it's about how can I contribute to the wider community or even to the world. So I live here in Bali. There's lots of different initiatives that come around, when it comes to cleaning up the areas. Can I do something more so I can raise the standard, set a goal, so I actually do more for the wider community instead of just the people that I am coming in contact with? So like I said, when it comes to standards, maybe that's something that I'm going to put in place so that I can raise my level on that area of the wheel of life. So that's the contribution section. Next one is environment. So environment is all about the world around you, your current place, your environment that you're living. So it could be the country you're living in, it could be the home that you're living in, it could be the places that you're going to. So, if you're going to different community areas like, cafes or restaurants or community shelters, stuff like that. What is in your environment, and are you happy with the environment that you're in? So I've been always someone who found environment to be super important for me personally, because where my personal home environment is, it's where I can be myself 100% without anyone around me. So I can feel comfortable to be creative, to be, not at my best, and also be able to recharge myself. So I've always had environment as high. And so prior to moving to Bali, I always lived on my own for the last 6 years, and I loved it. And I made my home my sanctuary. And when people would come into it, I had to make sure that they took consideration of it. And if they didn't, then that was a big thing for me. So here, when I moved to Bali, initially my plan was that I wanted to get to know people. So I moved into a place that was a shared community. And for me at the beginning, it served its purpose, but for the last maybe month prior to moving into my new place, it wasn't. So my environment wasn't helping me in a few other areas of my life, so it affected it. So for me, I've just recently moved into a new villa with one of my good friends here, who's also a coach, so that I can refocus, make my home, my home environment an important factor so that I can actually increase other areas of my life. And, I've been here for a week and I can see already how much of a difference this environment is having on my life. So there you go when it comes to the wheel of life. Where are you at? What are your standards for living? And how are you setting those standards? What belief systems are coming up for you in that area? The next area is recreation and fun. So this is all about, what are you doing to wind down? What are you doing to have an adventure? What are you doing that is enjoyment for you and for the people around you? So for me recently, I've just been going on hikes to a couple of mountains in Bali, right? And so for me, before that, maybe I wasn't focusing so much on recreation and fun because I was too focused in a different area. And so I have to look at the standards that I have in that area, and why was I not doing that for? Because for me, it was because it wasn't a big priority for me. But I also know if I want to have a balanced life, I have to look at this area and see where it is that I can improve and how can I raise my standards. Because again, my belief before was that the more fun I have, the less my business is going to grow, the less I can help other people, the less I can serve my clients, the less I can improve my fitness, right? So for me, I had to shift away my belief and talk to about, like, if I'm more balanced, if I'm feeling good and have time for that, I'm going to be better when I am delivering to my clients. I'm going to be better when I'm in the gym. I'm going to be better when I'm growing my business. So for me, I had to look at that area and go, okay, what can I do to add more fun into my life so that I can achieve better success in other areas as well, right? Because again, balance is going to be the best result for us as well. Now, when it came to romance and love, For me, until, a couple of months ago, I really did not have a big focus in this area because, again, I thought a relationship would be a distraction. And so when I was changing my life around over the last 18 months, when I left my corporate career, when I opened my business, when I was focused on my sobriety and my health and all my goals when it came to that area, this was not a priority to me. So I didn't put any effort into it. So I would have probably been rating myself at a 2 or a 3, right? When it came to romantic love, because I was going on the odd date here when someone asked and I was okay, but I never put any effort into doing such things. But when I came to Bali, I said to myself, look, I want to see what I can do when it comes to this area of my life. So I made a conscious effort that I wanted to start dating people. And I'm happy to say that, because of that, I've just started a new relationship. And, now I'm putting my standard up higher because I put in the effort into that area so that now my romantic life is improving, right? It's growing. And I'm happy to say that I'm in a happy relationship at this point. So those types of things are what changed because my old belief was that it was going to be a distraction. My new belief was that, again, I want to find balance across all areas. And for me, I need to put effort into dating if I want to improve that. Because again, if I can have that relationship, it's going to help me feel more fulfilled. And also hopefully the relationship is going to help inspire me and also be supported so that I can again serve more to my clients, do more for my community and grow my business as well. So that's why I changed in that area as well. Now, when it comes to my family life, a lot of my family live all over the world. So I've got some people who live in Australia, people live in London. And so for me, I would say I'm probably around a 6 or 7 here because I know that I can put more effort into keeping in contact with them as well, because before, it could go months before I would really speak to some of my family members just because, we're all doing different things in our life and, different time zones and stuff like that. So one of my goals was to improve that. And so now that I've done that, I created a monthly catch up Zoom call with all of my family because I wanted to make sure that I can improve that. And we keep in contact more. We hear about what's going on in each other's lives. And it's now scheduled on the calendar so everyone keeps themselves free for the Zoom call once a month. So there's little things that I was doing to try to raise my standards so I could put in there so that I could raise the area and have again more balance across that area of my life. Now, the next area is social and friendships, right? So for me here again, when I was changing a lot of my life around and I changed a lot of the things that I was doing, I realized that a lot of the friendships that I had in the past did kind of change, or some of them dissipated because I was no longer out partying all the time. I was no longer interested in this. I was more focused in this area. So I did shift around a lot of friendships and, some of those friends I've kept and I'm really happy with that because, those, the true long lasting friendships, some of them have just, like I said, dissipated and some of them are there. And, I'm sure when I reach out to them or vice versa, we will communicate. But like I said, when you move to different areas of your life, unfortunately, not everyone is going to move in that same direction. So it's totally okay if things shift and change in your life because you've put focus on different areas. So when I was able to do that, like I said, I was putting myself into different circles and created different friendships that are more in alignment with where I am and where I'm going than who I was and what I was doing back then. So moving to Bali again, I had to create new friendships, which is why, again, I put myself into an environment that was a shared community so I could connect to new people and feel like I'm building my community here in Bali. Again, happy with that. I've met some great people, but again, I had to move away from the environment and know that, again, some of those friendships that I've met, that I made may not sustain, but the ones that I truly care about because I put effort into and I value them, they will. So my friendships here in Bali, I'm happy with, are continuing to grow. My friendships with my friends back in Australia, great. And also my friendships that I've met from people in the online world and my clients are growing. So again, for me, my standard was that I need to make sure that the people around me are on the same wavelength as me. And again, that's not saying that what other people's wavelength is wrong. It's just, proximity is power. And so putting effort into this area has really helped me to make sure that I raise my standards with the people that I hang around so that I can support them, they can support me, and we have a great growing relationship. Now, the next one is health and fitness. So this is all about what you're putting into your body, what you're doing with your body, how you're managing your energy, your sleep. And so for me, previously, when it came to my health and fitness, my fitness goals probably a year ago was all relating to being skinny, because I had a belief that being skinny meant I was going to be more attractive, and that if I was bigger or more overweight, then I wasn't going to be attractive, and that really was affecting how I saw myself as well. And so all of my actions and my standards related to me staying skinny instead of me growing my body and putting things in that can help me grow. So, I got myself to an amazing place where I was in my body. And then I saw myself and I said, look, I've achieved this here. Is this what I truly want for the person that I'm moving into when I shifted around my mindset around how I saw myself? And I'm happy to say that, moving to Bali, I got myself a personal trainer and talked to him about my goals and what I wanted to achieve. And we've been working on my overall fitness, and I've, added at least 10 kilos into my body mass through the weights training that I've done, because I felt that, I wanted to see myself as a bit more of a man instead of, a little skinny boy, right? So I had to change the belief around for me to raise my standards in that area. And so raising my standards just meant that I put myself into a different fitness routine, working harder in different areas, harder than I've ever worked in my life, and continuing to grow each week because my trainer pushes me, which is why I got one in that area, of course. And also like focusing on what I'm eating and what I'm consuming as well. There are areas that I need to improve upon in that. And at the moment, I'm in a growth phase. I'm trying to add in a couple more kilos. And then from that point, we're going to work on a cutting phase. So I will lose more kilos back down there. But the idea is that, he has a plan for me. We talk about it and we set it each week. He talks to me about what I'm eating, what I'm consuming, and then he keeps giving me areas where I need to improve. So for me, I'm super happy with where I'm going there, but it took me to change the belief I had about myself for me to then review that and make my own improvements in that area. Now, the next area is finance and wealth. And this area is something that I would rate myself on a lower end. And that's not because I'm sitting here poor at all, because I do have, I'm not here to brag, but I do have money behind me. But and my business is growing, but it's more about the fact that this hasn't been a focus for me. And I want to look at more than just the money I have in my bank, but also how is that money helping me to grow so that I can do more, have more, and be more and inspire more. Because if you are investing your money wisely in things that will help it to grow, you'll gain more money, which means you can then make more of an impact, because then you can reinvest that money into things that are going to help you grow, but also help contribute to other people's lives as well. So for me, I know that this is an area that I want to raise my standards in. And because of previous upbringings, my standards maybe came from my beliefs from, my parents or the people around me. And I maybe didn't always look at wealth in the right way. And now that I'm getting into my mid-30s, it's something that I really need to focus on, and something that this year is going to be a goal of mine, to create a wealth program for myself, so that I raise my standards, keep growing my wealth and my finances, so that I can again invest more in myself and into other things, so that I can contribute more to other people. So you see how some of these areas are going to affect other areas of the wheel of life. Now, the next area is business, career, and studies, right? So for me, before, just over a year and a half ago, I didn't have a business. I was in a corporate career, and, I wasn't happy there. So I was saying I would probably be lower on the field, because I was always in stress there. It was really something that was causing me a lot of pain. And so I had wanted to create a business, my coaching business, for at least 5 years now, and it took me a while to do, because I was afraid. I was afraid of starting something and failing, or getting rejected or whatnot. So I didn't push myself. But because I got to myself into a place in my career where I was in so much pain and so much stress, it pushed me to say, look, I have to go for something else, because I'm not happy right now, and this is not fulfilling me. So I raised my standards because of the fact I was in so much pain. And so I started my business. It grew over a 9-month period, and I was able to leave my corporate career and focus solely on my coaching business, on writing my book, on creating this podcast, on inspiring other people and really growing what I do. So for me, mine raised because I was in pain, but I set my standards higher because I knew I needed to do that for me to get out of the current situation that I was in. Now, it has nothing to do with any of the company or what I was doing. It's just me not being fulfilled and knowing that I was meant for more. So again, the pain created me to raise my standards as well in that area. When it comes to self-image, again, probably 18 months ago when I was stressed, I was drinking a lot, I was unhappy, my self-image was low because all of the talks and all of the things that I was saying to myself were about me being not good enough, me being unhappy, me being a loser, right? And I had to change those things. And because I put in effort to be, high values on personal growth, on creating a better environment for myself, on creating better relationships for myself, and also improving my business and career, it helped me to shift my identity, which is my self-image. So all of those other areas really helped me to level up my self-image, which changed my belief systems, which then raised my standards so that now I have a routine that helps me to be in the right mindset and keep myself on the right path, so that the self-talk I have to myself is one of love instead of one of not hatred, but one of negativity. So I've tried to keep myself in a positive mindset. Obviously, there are moments when we don't get that, but I know what I need to do to get myself out of those moments as well. And then finally, on the wheel of life, it is spirituality. And this area is something that is highly important to me, but not something that I've always been putting effort into. And so one of my main goals from coming to Bali was to really get back and connect myself to a higher spirituality in my life. Because again, I've always gone on trips around the world that were related to my spirituality and my spiritual growth. But when I would go back to my normal life, I kind of fell off the wayside when it came to that. So for me, my standards had to be raised that, I made it a must that I meditate every day. I made it a must that I go get healings. I made it a must that I focused on what it is inside of me and trusting my intuition and my gut, so that really I'm guided in the right direction and trusting in myself enough to know that what I'm doing is right for me and for the people around me. So that again, there is the Wheel of Life. And if anyone here would like, a copy of what I've got as a Wheel of Life, feel free to leave a comment below or send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, because I'd love to share with you what I have. If you have any more questions, feel free to also ask me there as well, because again, I'm here to serve, here to add value, and really want to make sure that you're getting value out of this podcast. So I really, really, really appreciate you listening to me here on the Total Boss podcast, and I'll catch you on next week's episode. Always remember, you've got this and I've got you.